Hey, as I was putting together some 3-woods for a golfer that just went through a fitting, it reminded me of a topic that we could talk about, and that is getting fit and then the end result. Doesn't necessarily have to be new clubs. It can be redone just like we did here. Stay tuned and I'll show you what we did. Welcome back to the McGolf shop. And one thing I really haven't been talking about lately is fittings. And what does a fitting do for a person? Now, it's apples to apples, oranges to oranges, depending on where you go. I will say this: if you go to a place and a fitting is typically free, chances are you're getting exactly what you paid for. All right. And we'll just leave it at that. Maybe I'll talk about that later in a whole nother thing. The idea here is when you do a fitting, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to get brand spanking new equipment. In the case of this young man here, that we're filling these out, which are some tailor-mades, right? That the shaft in there was completely inappropriate for the person. Now, what we ended up doing is I ended up taking his R15 and I ended up putting a Acra 370 in it. Notice the nice yellow, and you got a nice little you get some write up in this. Okay, so as it turns out, and you'll see it over here, that after we found the fitting, and I got to get my paper for this, we finally got him into the right length. And this is the reason why you do all this fitting. That he comes in, he says, oh, he's 260-ish, and okay, so he swings. So he swings at 110 mile an hour, but it is ultra smooth. So if it's ultra smooth, but nobody pays attention to that, and you only go by swing speed, you're going to put an X-flex in this guy's shaft. Well, I measured the original version of that, and it was not only an X-flex, but it was like a 2X flex once it's measured. So he was having trouble with it. So what we did is we found the right length, and at the right length he was carrying 251 and went to 287. Decent, but not awesome. When we finally got him into this shaft, then he was carrying 278 and taking it out to 300. All right, now mind you, it's 110 mile an hour swing speed. That is where it's supposed to be, and he wasn't getting there, and he wasn't maximizing the equipment that he had. Once we found this shaft over here, then everything changed. He went from a smash factor of 1.39 to 1.42. Decent, not awesome, but it gets him out there and it keeps him in play, which was one of the things he was having a problem with. Now, the other side of the fitting is, because of that particular shaft, right, this is one of the few companies that does what I call a family of shafts. And they make a fairway wood, which I'm putting in another set of these for him, and a 3-wood and a 5-wood, and we just cleaned this one up. The other one's still kind of dirty yet. But and what it is that fairway wood shaft is not just a 10-gram heavier shaft just cut down and costs you a lot more. It's a specific fairway wood shaft. Yes, it is a little heavier, but it's made to deal with a head that's small. Okay, a head that's smaller, heavier, does a lot of that more. Okay, so they make it specific to that. When we did all that, all of a sudden you're out here like this and you're short, and now you're in here like this and you're long. That's the idea of the fitting. Now in this particular instance, we didn't have to get new equipment, because what he had was pretty nice. Just needed to update it, and that's what we did. Now in another case, I had another gentleman, and he'll be over here. He went from a 141 smash factor and carrying 194 to 211, not very good, to a smash factor of 148, and now he's carrying 211 and getting it out to 244. That's all on a 1/2 inch change, 1/2 inch change in length, and a different shaft. And that was all it took. Same head, same everything. So those are the things you got to kind of find out in a fitting. And that's what we do here. So when you go get fit, talk to the fitter. Make sure that they do things that make sense to you. Make it an educational process. Have a little fun with it. You know, if you want to be serious, fine. If you want to have fun with it, do both. Okay? So, get fit, get the right equipment underneath of you, and watch your scores go low. And if you really liked it, how about you like it and you subscribe? Hey, as I was putting together some new 3-woods for a person that went through a fitting, it just reminded me that I need to do this again. And he went from a smash factor of 1.41, which is decent, to 1.48, which is outstanding. And he went from carrying at a 45-inch shaft from 211 to 244, that's carry and total distance, I'm sorry,